Hello everyone, and I'm doing something different on this channel which I don't usually do. So, E3 happened this year, and in case you've been living under a rock or something, it's been told that Crash Bandicoot is returning. Not in a new game or anything, but remasters are happening. They're remaking Crash Bandicoot 1, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, all for the PS4. To the sort of level, you know, where basically, you know the new Ratchet & Clank game that's come out? It's been remade to that level, so it's not just a simple remaster, but a reimagining, and it's gonna look good and things. And I'm just here to talk about a couple of reasons why I think this is a positive thing for Crash Bandicoot in the future. Now, while we are having all three games remastered for the PS4, they've been scheduled for pretty much next year, you know, in 2017. So, to start with, Crash is first going to appear in the latest Skylanders game, coming out in November, I think, or something. And a lot of people on that are against this, thinking, oh yeah, sure, put him in Skylanders, why not? Or, you know, just whining all about Skylanders and things, basically. I'm not really a big fan of Skylanders myself, but I can actually see that putting Crash in Skylanders will be a good thing. Let's look at it in this perspective. Crash Bandicoot has existed ever since 1996. 20 years ago to this day, you know. He's been around a long time ago, ever since he first started. And the very last Crash Bandicoot game he had pretty much was Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant, which was 2008, 6 years ago. And sure, he's had like mobile games like Nitro Kart 3D, Mutant Island, and Nitro Kart 2 and things, but you know, those are mobile games, and I prefer the ones on like the home console, since that's what Crash has always been to me. You know, he's either been on a home console or a handheld, not mobiles, even though those are handhelds, but just, I don't know, they don't count to me. Kids nowadays, due to this, you know, delay of the Bandicoot ever since 2008 and the start of 1996, have probably never even heard of this Crash Bandicoot, as we call him and things. So having him in Skylanders might cause kids to spark an interest in him again. I mean, think about it. Kids playing Skylanders are gonna have like this new figure, which is Crash Bandicoot, and then they'll get to understand how the character acts, what he does in general and things, you know, and they'll just become interested in that character throughout the game. And then they'll find that, you know, sometime in 2017, to hear that he has his own game will actually cause kids to go out and buy that game, you know. If they just released Crash Bandicoot without having him in some sort of game to spark an interest in kids nowadays, it probably wouldn't go down as well. But given the fact that they know about him first, is why I think it's a good idea to have him in Skylanders, since by the time the remasters come out, all the kids will be wanting that game because it's got Crash Bandicoot in it, you know what I'm saying? So, long story short, I just think that having Crash Bandicoot in a popular game like Skylanders nowadays is what's going to make him come back. Not to mention, and this is only my personal theory, this could even like probably cause a new Crash Bandicoot game. I mean, if kids are interested in the Bandicoot when he comes out with all the remasters and all that, they'll then think, wow, this is really fun, why don't we have a new one or something, you know? So it might possibly cause another Crash game, but that's only a theory of mine, and if you disagree with it, please say so in the comments and say that I'm an idiot or something. But here's the thing that I'm most excited about. I know I talked about this earlier and things, but I'm going to go over this in more depth. So even though, you know, people see it as just a remaster or so, like, oh yeah, I guess, but I mean, it's just, it's Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, it's just going to look a little bit nicer and things, so yeah. No, it's not going to be like that at all. If anything, it's going to be a lot better. You know, the recent Ratchet & Clank game that's come out for the PS4 and things, the graphics look all shiny and things, and it's a really good remake of the very first Ratchet & Clank game, I find. It's to that level. So all those nice graphics you see in Ratchet & Clank, imagine that applied to the PS1 games of Crash Bandicoot. For once, it'll be nice seeing like Insanity Island and places like that, you know, from the first Crash Bandicoot games. Like, what was it? Turtle Woods from Crash Bandicoot 2, and the medieval times even from Crash Bandicoot 3. It'll be really nice seeing how they look in the modern day with beefed up PS4 graphics. I think that'll go down very well. Also, this may fix some issues which were in Crash 1, 2 and 3. Let's look at the first game though, because while it was released in 1996 and was really good back in the day and things, it has got one flaw that bugs me a lot. The saving. Now, I can understand. I mean, it was 1996, you know, the PlayStation pretty much had just come out, and Crash Bandicoot was on it, and they didn't really know what to do with the Bandicoot to start with and things, so I can respect that, you know, given the fact that it was their first decision. But this is the PS4, a next-gen system with really good graphics and capable of a lot of things nowadays that the PlayStation couldn't do back in 1996. Wasn't it always annoying to find that the only way to save the game in Crash Bandicoot was to either break all the boxes in a level without dying? If you died once, it meant you had to restart the level all over again since the boxes reset. Or another way was to collect all 3 Torna tokens, and then basically reach Torna at the end where you jump into the teleporter and it allows you to save the game. There was no option to pause the game and save, or get to a certain point on the map and then it saves, pretty much similar to games like Super Mario World. It was basically just a chore to save. You were put under pressure in order to just save the game because you were really scared not to screw up on this one box, just so that then you would not ruin your chances of saving the game. Or even on the Torna bonus rounds, where if you fall off once, you weren't able to go back into it again, meaning you just had to press on. If you weren't able to save the game and you missed your chance, it was tough. Just progress on and hope you don't die and get a game over. With the remake on the PS4 though, this could probably fix this. It means that they can just place the save points at more convenient places. For instance, like a certain point on the map, it then says, would you like to save the game? And you can click yes, of course. So I think that'll be a lot better and things, since saving is one big issue I have with the first game. It's just getting those boxes and all that, it's annoying to me. It's satisfying, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's really cool once you do it at the end, you feel like a god. But it's just, when you die on like one box at the end or so, that is when the rage really begins. Another reason why the Crash Bandicoot remakes are a good thing is also with the soundtrack. The soundtrack will be a lot more better and higher quality. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first Crash games from 1 to 3 and that have great soundtracks and things. But through my time on YouTube and things, I've been listening to uncompressed versions and they sound a lot better. Because, you know, when they were published on the PS1, they had to basically compress them so that they would fit within the disk space, so that it was able to run on like a PlayStation and things. They sound good, but they sound better uncompressed. And it is probably possible to do that on the PS4. This means basically we can have the soundtrack pretty much uncompressed at proper CD quality, maybe even with more instruments, and I just think it would be a lot better with like the higher quality going on. Imagine hearing Crash 2's Rocket, you know, from the jetpack level, in higher quality on the PS4 uncompressed. I think that will be very needed. Or heck, even Dingodile's theme from Crash 3, which is my personal favourite theme in Crash 3 to be honest. Hearing that in higher quality, yes please. Finally, one last thing I want to say and stuff is how I think even another game, and also the Crash Bandicoot remakes, could also mean that 3D platformers could come back in style. I mean, we have Crash Bandicoot remasters coming in 2017, but there's also another game which I'm super excited for, which is Yooka-Laylee. A game that pretty much reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, and Mario 64 combined. All of those great 3D platformers back in the 90s, you know, made by Rareware, but just reimagined in a HD perspective with new characters and just a new game overall. I think it would be great. And just having Crash Bandicoot remasters and Yooka-Laylee combined and stuff could spark an interest in 3D platforming once again. Think about it, after being introduced to Crash in Skylanders for kids nowadays, and then playing Crash 1 to 3 on PS4 and loving them all, only to find that another game, Yooka-Laylee, which is another 3D platformer, could mean that they could buy that as well. So it might mean that kids will then start to really enjoy 3D platformers again, and to show them how 3D platformers have aged well. Anyway, yeah, that'll do it for this video. I just thought I'd tell you about a few positive thoughts that I had about these Crash Bandicoot remasters happening, and you can let me know what you thought about all this below in the comments if you like. if you disagree or even agree with some of the points that I'm saying, just have a say down in the comments and stuff. You know, we can have a big discussion about it, and I just think it would be nice to hear what people have to say about all this. You can even suggest some more positive things about these Crash Bandicoot remasters if you like, or even negative stuff. I'm just keen to hear, okay? Either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of me rambling on about the Bandicoot, and see you later.